Hi, and welcome back for week 8 of Living Authentically. I'm Sherry Kaufman, a Reiki Master teacher, DNA Theta Healing instructor, and Aroma Freedom practitioner instructor. I've been doing a series of recordings as I have taken on a project in my personal life for looking at what it means to me to live my most authentic life. I've talked about things like being honest with yourself, centering yourself in your heart space, reaching out to others, and several other topics. And as I was considering this week what I wanted to talk about, several things happened in my personal life that brought the topic forward this evening. And I have found that that is often how things happen for us when we put ourselves out for some form of study or project, that things just start happening in our lives that help us to experience more fully what it is that we're wanting to learn about. And that's great, because that's the universal energy working in cooperation with us for where we want to grow and where we want to evolve. So one of the things that you may know about me, if you know me personally, is that it's important to me to build community wherever I am. I like for the people in a gathering that I'm at, either socially or like when I was a classroom teacher, people in my home working on a project, I like for everyone to feel included. And I love to build community and help people connect. As an educator, it's important to me that the information in anything that I'm involved in is as accurate as possible. And I'm also someone who wants people to live and have access to their most empowered way of being, moving as close to joy as possible. And I'm very much interested in the truth or the authenticity of a situation. So a couple of things that happened to me in the last few days caused me to sit back and reflect on who I was being and whether or not I was showing up in the way that I really wanted to show up for myself. Because I really value the experience that I have as a person who builds community, who is interested in the truth, and very much wants to help other people live the most empowered version of their lives as possible. So the things that happened were one situation where I was working with a group in a collaborative effort and inadvertently kind of set in play a series of things that caused someone to feel that she'd been disenfranchised in the group. And I know I didn't cause that directly, but looking at connecting the dots and how conversations had gone and things, I felt a little bit sad about that. I felt like I needed to look at where I might be responsible in my communication, maybe where I had been irresponsible in my connection and my thoughts and ideas. And then following that, I did something that many of us do on Facebook. I saw a post that was designed for its shock value, and I was captured by that shock, and I reshared the post. And the post contained accurate but misleading information. It was presented in a way, as I said, for the shock value, and would cause people to have an emotional reaction, as I did, and possibly make an assumption or a decision or a judgment about something that was not the complete truth. And a couple of my friends called me on it and suggested that I hadn't done my full research, and that I had shared something that was not completely truth. It didn't show the whole picture. And that really made me sad about myself, because, we don't want to look at ourselves in a bad light. We want to see ourselves as the best version as we can possible. So after the Facebook post, which actually I deleted and then did some research and shared an article that would give a better overview of that and explained why, to kind of clean that up. I hadn't done anything deliberately to be misleading, right? I had just reacted, like I said, captured by the shock of that moment. I did exactly what the person who created the post initially wanted people to do. So I sat back and I thought about how kind of yucky I felt inside. And I looked at that for a while because I didn't want to be disempowered by that. I knew I hadn't done anything malicious. My friends had not been, nasty or argumentative. And I thought, gosh, is it just that I can't handle being imperfect? Is that it? And I thought, what is it about this? Am I angry because they called me on it? And I thought, no, I'm not angry. Do I feel embarrassed, or do I feel like I've been shamed, or do I feel like that was a shameful thing I did? And I thought, no, that wasn't it. And what I finally realized was that it was just plain and simple that I was disappointed in myself. In both situations, I found that I was disappointed in myself because I wasn't showing up as the person that I know myself to be and as I most want to experience myself in the world. And so I knew the immediate solution to that was just to accept the imperfect humanness of my existence and to forgive myself. And I knew in that moment that I had the topic for this week's recording because I thought of the times in the past that a situation like that would have taken me into a very disempowered place. I would have sat in that sadness that I was feeling. I would have possibly gone into a low-level, situational depression, not even recognizing that all that was there was a disappointment in not being perfect. And tonight, as I was getting ready to do this video and thinking about what I would say exactly, I remembered a form of art that's practiced in Japan, I believe it is, called kintsugi. And what kintsugi is when they take a broken piece of pottery, a bowl, a teapot, a cup, some kind of decorative item that's been broken, the pieces there's a crack in it, or pieces have fallen out of the item. And they put those pieces back together. And instead of just using a regular glue, they use a form of melted gold. There's actually gold melted into whatever the adhesive is, or maybe it's just gold. I didn't go back and research it tonight. And they mend this piece of pottery with gold. And so the end result is a piece of pottery that, while you can see where the pieces have come together and it's been mended, something even more beautiful in the view of the philosophy of kintsugi has been created. And I realized when this came to my memory that it was no accident, that this was my intuition bringing something up for me to help me understand even more deeply the value of forgiving myself. Because when I can forgive myself, when you can forgive yourself, you have created something that's not even more strong. You know how when we talk, doctors will tell you that if you break a bone and when it mends well, that place in the bone is even stronger than it was before the break because of the way our body mends itself. So through this act of kintsugi, something of beauty and a stronger version is created. And I feel like that's what's happened for me today as I visited that and considered what I would do for myself to get past that. And I think that's what happens for all of us. And the thing that I think is really cool is that these are just two small incidences. Neither one of these would have been big life game changers for me. But they're opportunities for me to practice forgiving myself in incidences where that's easy. So that maybe I'm building a muscle of self-forgiveness and it's becoming stronger with those small little seemingly insignificant matters. So that when something bigger, because let's face it, I am human, and there have definitely been things in my life of a more serious nature that I felt I needed to forgive myself for. If we can practice on these little things, recognize the disappointment we feel in ourselves, offer ourselves forgiveness, and build that muscle of self-forgiveness, then like the beautiful post product of the Kintsugi philosophy, we will be that much more strong. We will show much more beauty to the world, and we will be much more ready to face those situations that might take a bigger muscle. So that's where I am this week. I'm grateful for those experiences to have that lesson for myself. And I hope that this has been helpful to some of you that are watching, and that you will remember that in our imperfect state as human beings, instead of living in the regret of a decision that we've made, an action that we've taken, no matter how small or large, that we can let go of that and forgive ourselves and continue to show up and experience ourselves in the way that we most want to experience ourselves. So thanks for being here for this recording, and I hope to see you back next time. I'm Sherry Kaufman. My website is empoweredjoy.com. You can reach me through the website or at kaufmansherry@gmail.com. I do Reiki sessions, theta healing, and aroma freedom. I do private sessions face-to-face, and I also do distance sessions by phone and by Zoom. So if there's some way that I can help you to step into a more empowered way of being, moving toward joy, it would be my extreme honor to do so. So I'll see you back next time. Thanks.